Welcome to the Beacon by Soul 33 teachings for your past, present and future. Good morning everyone. It's the 13th of February 2023 and if you can hear the background, it's because there's a cyclone happening in the northern part of New Zealand and I'm in Auckland if you are outside of New Zealand and listening to this. So that's what that sound is. Couldn't avoid it. So here we are with me, your Monday mantra and a cyclone. So if you are listening to this on YouTube, please don't forget to like and subscribe on the app. Please share and tag in your stories so that people know that these lessons exist for you every week to grow you spiritually and support your mental health. And if you're listening on Spotify, same thing. Share the Monday mantra, tag me. That would be amazing. You're really doing me a big favor by letting people know that this platform exists. So it has been very interesting in terms of the energy. So I want to share with you this dream I had. So last week, everybody seemed to be messaging me that I was in their dreams or they've been thinking about me. And it's like people that I haven't heard from in a very, very long time were, reaching out. So there was a dream I had, I think it was Tuesday night, if I'm not mistaken. Now, in the dream, there were tarot cards being shuffled, and the card that was pulled, now I don't know who was shuffling them. It was just kind of like how the app, the Soul Progression Oracle on the app does the digital shuffle. It kind of was doing that. And the card was a hieroglyphic of an Egyptian woman, like a very old Egyptian ancient artwork. And the woman was in a position holding an onion. And on the description of it, it said onion, and then it said stuff about life and eating onions and all of that. And I got up in the morning. Sometimes my dreams are just crazy, and sometimes there's a lot of meaning, like I get messages. So that morning, I suddenly just had this feeling of making onion soup. I love onions, but I was chopping even more onions than I normally would for my cooking. And then I was triggered to remember my dream. So I Googled it and I was thinking, well, what's ancient Egypt got to do with onions? Anyway, turns out there are hieroglyphics depicted like the one I saw in my dream of ancient Egyptian women holding onions, because in ancient Egypt, onions were the sign of eternal life. So when mummies were buried, they would be buried with onions, sometimes in their eye sockets and other crevices in the body, because of the circles. And I remember my mother-in-law, when she met me, she said, I can tell you're an onion, there's onion, different layers to you. So it was really interesting because last week I talked to you about how, about death, and I often bring that up with you. And it's the eternal life energy that is being supported here with all of you on your spiritual journeys, because the soul is eternal. So it was a very symbolic dream, but it was also around me needing to up my onion consumption. But there was also a message in there for you in terms of the support that you're giving yourself through your meditation and seeking more answers from yourself and really nurturing your soul. And because last week, the Monday mantra was set as, I'll nurture my needs and be the master of my desires. In Buddhism, desires are a bad thing. But I'm not talking about desires that are like lustful and greed. I'm talking about desires of having peace and desire of being purposeful and fulfilled. I'm talking about the bigger desires, not the desires that have us attached to things. And because the full moon energy was still lingering last week, we were still able to shift energy, old patterns, all of that, and move towards the nurturing of our desires. I did find myself reprogramming the way I looked at things. Like, rather than looking at things frustratingly, I would think, okay, do I have the energy to nurture that or nurture the situation? What happens if I communicated with this person from a nurturing perspective rather than one of being the taskmaster, because we were needing to put ourselves in the position of being our own parent and talking to ourselves and supporting ourselves in that way. time management needed to be looked at. Now, this was really interesting because as I got to the end of the week, I lost it on the Friday. And I'll talk to you about that a bit after, because I always like to share things that I feel, because you may be also experiencing those things. So time management around priorities and where your expectations you have for yourself and around others. This is really interesting if you work with other people and you are expecting them to fail, or not even working. Sometimes in a relationship, you're not giving people a chance to be like, they're not going to do it properly, or they're not going to fulfill what they say. I'm going to have to ask about 12 times before they'll actually deliver. But last week we were asked to put that aside and nurture relationships, nurture everything that is a big desire. Gosh, the storm. If you can hear it, it's very loud. It may be that you are not used to nurturing things because you're so used to being driven and being someone that has to do. So being creative in how you nurture. Like I noticed when I was talking to my past partner last week, if I was getting frustrated, I would go into my mind, okay, how would it look like if I was nurturing him? Because it's my relationship. Of course I want to nurture that rather than being angry or not getting the outcome. I looked from that perspective, and it really, really helped. So as we move through the week, I pulled the card on Wednesday, New Zealand time, A New Direction. So this is about, because we've been clearing old patterns, old identities, old fears and emotions, and it's all being replenished by courage, we can see what is left to manage in our life after the great purge. So our new direction is to nurture what we want, who we have, and the now, okay? So really think about that. Our new direction, because a direction doesn't need to be a physical direction. A direction is, in this instance, in this context, is to nurture what we want, who we have, and the now. So not fearing it, not fearing any of these things, not fearing our relationship, not fearing that we're not going to get the outcome that we want, but what would it look like to nurture it? We're becoming very, very sensitive to people and energies that don't serve us. So as emotions are passing through us to create the movement towards this new direction, the new direction this week isn't a path forward or back. The direction is now to nurture, protect, and grow. Okay? All got that into your minds? And boundaries are a part of this. You are the master of your destiny and desires. Everything you have done in the last week, ask yourself, is this really worth nurturing? How would it look like if I was to nurture myself or another person or situation rather than being hard on yourself? Things you want to grow take time. So there is an accumulative effect. So just remember this, everything accumulates. Often, especially as women, we want things now. Why can't I be in the future now? We're always moving towards, like, we want it now. But everything accumulates. How you nurture your relationship, it's not you just nurture it once and then it stays nurtured forever. How you nurture your business, how you nurture your body, it's all a cumulative effect. So to nurture means to take the fear out of it, and not do things because, like, oh my God, the time's ticking and I need to get this done. To nurture means to take fear out of it and experience love of self, love of another or a situation which you want to grow. So anything that you want to see grow requires nurturing from a place of love by taking your fear out of it. Pour what you want to give into your desires, as you can never run out when you give from a place of empowered nurturing. Now, what I meant by that is that last Friday, I was so tired and I literally threw in the towel. Like, usually I'm a very routine person. There's certain things that I do every day. But because last Friday I was so exhausted, at the end of my day, at the end of my work day, I just ate, had a shower, went to bed, to the point where my partner had to come look for me because he was like, you didn't come out, you didn't say anything. I'm like, I got nothing to give anybody right now. So it was the desire to have time to myself. And that's actually a long-term desire. So I need to nurture that. And that was around the boundaries thing that I was talking about last week. So that was an application to my life. What was it for you? It's important to remember that nurturing another comes at a cost. So remember, when you're a parent, right, you're constantly nurturing someone, or even if you're someone in a relationship, you're hopefully thinking about the other person, but you're thinking about yourself just as much. You need to give yourself the care so that you can grow. Things accumulate, so let what accumulates within you be emotions and actions that are high vibrational and positive. So when you give someone or you nurture somebody else, you have more capacity to receive. When we nurture from a place of empowerment, we understand that anything which needs nurturing takes time. So what needs nurturing in your life to give you that new direction? And it takes courage to set boundaries on when enough is enough and when it's time to bring the attention back to what is most important. Now, I am back on board with work, so if you're needing me for any help, now this week is Valentine's Day as well, which I'll talk about with this week's Monday Mantra. So if you want to solve magic for your relationship, if you're needing a mini reading, 3 PDF questions, which are only for app members, if you're needing an emergency session, if you want to see me and you've never seen me before, there's a way to see me sooner rather than being on the wait list. Kieran is the person for that. Email Kieran at soul33@gmail.com. Personalized meditations. This is going to be so important because this year, I've told you all, it's not going to be the most amazing year globally, but it's a profound year for us spiritually, which is what's going to help us make the physical changes that we want. So if you're needing an energy shift, if you're needing specific things healed, like I am so onto my stuff to make sure that I am constantly releasing energy and understanding why things show up in my life the way that they do. And those personalized meditations are amazing for you to do that. And again, Kieran's the person to message for that, or if you need to renew or become a member of the app, it's only $60 per year to have access to this resource. Now, moving on to this week's Monday Mantra. I will express my inner calling with love and I will act on it. I will express my inner calling with love and I will act on it. So it is Valentine's Day this week. Now, I know there is a whole commercial aspect of Valentine's Day, but like I always mention to you, when lots of people's energy are focused on something like when it's a Chinese New Year or Diwali or something like that, there's a whole lot of people vibrationally focused on one thing. So with the Valentine's Day energy, it's an opportunity for you to nurture, grow, and act on your relationship energy. So whether you are single or not, this is an area which we all want expansion, growth, and connection. Everybody, even if you're 90 years old, you want a relationship with yourself or a relationship with your children or whoever. So it's not just about romantic relationships. It certainly is more so because it's Valentine's Day, but this week you're really asked to be taking a risk in love or something that is worth investing in brackets, nurturing, is something to consider as long as it's what is in your inner calling. So part of your homework this week, if you are single, there's an exercise, a practical exercise to help you see where you might be sabotaging yourself in your quest to find love. And this is a very important thing, to be very clear on why you might be single. And there's nothing wrong with you. It's just I know from my perspective in the capacity of work that I have that there is always a reason. And sometimes when you want it so bad, you are sabotaging it yourself. So do that exercise. And also for those of you in a relationship, there's the golden staircase meditation to understand your soul contracts. Like I'm constantly looking at the dynamics of all the relationships that come into my life, particularly my personal relationship, to understand what it's for both of us. So take a risk this week. Where is it worth investing? So It's not really about Valentine's Day. It's the spiritual element of Valentine's Day that's going to help us energetically connect more deeply with your chosen partner, or help attract a new partner if you're single and looking for love. Because this Valentine's Day brings the ability to expand and progress in your relationship, because we are expressing our inner calling with love. Not with fear, not with desperation, not with frustration, not with anger, not with loneliness, but with love. So when many people are tuning into the same energy, you can use this as leverage to help. So what are you doing this Valentine's Day? What risk can you take if you are in a relationship to express what you are wanting? Injecting a bit of self-love if you're on your own, like go do something for yourself or with your friends that is bringing in that loving energy, your inner calling to feel fantastic and sexual and all of those things that are important to bring in a relationship. And being on the same page as with your feelings if you are in a relationship, because you don't want to be disappointed on the day. Like I hear horror stories of Valentine's Days that go wrong because one person was expecting a gift and another wasn't, and all of those things. So really be clear to break down what your needs are and your true inner calling. There's an article that I've written for Fashions. So if you go to Fashions, FASHIONZ.co.nz, it's called Love and Valentine's Day Rituals with Gaia Chania. So you can go and read what I wrote for them in terms of what to do this Valentine's Day and questions to ask and things to consider, because remember, we're all here progressing our souls. So if you're wanting something in your relationship, this is the time to say or ask. And if you're single, ask your spirit guides to assist you in finding what you're looking for, and then act. So yes, you ask, but you also have to act to be able to bring it in. If you've been protecting yourself somehow from feelings or desires, this week is the time, the place, the energy to express them and be vulnerable. There is luck on your side also this week when it comes to the energy of honoring your deepest desires. So the word desires comes in again this week, because remember, if you follow my Monday mantras diligently, you know it all leads into each other. There's always a story that elaborates. It's the same when you have sessions with me. We build the story, because we don't know everything all at once. So honoring your deepest desire, what's your inner calling? To have connection, to have intimacy, to have passion, to have things in common. And remember, again, it's the accumulative thing. Not everything happens all at once. You've got to give things a chance to be nurtured and to grow. So what do you desire the most from your lover or with a lover if you're looking for one? And let your imagination go wild and write things down. Answer these questions for yourself and then act on them. Treat yourself in that way. Treat yourself with love, because when you do that, you're going to vibrate at the same vibration as the partner that you're wanting to meet. There's a point of clear growth this week leading to more prosperity. The stars are aligning. So for you to break through your limitations with your imagination of what could be possible is really, really important. Create your flow this week and follow the order of events that come up rather than going against them. Act and then flow into what comes, because it's all about understanding what your inner calling is, being honest with yourself. There are many people who I see that are in complete states of denial, not being honest about what they truly want, and then act from that place. Ask yourself what your inner calling is. Ask your partner what theirs is, what their needs are, and then look from a place of love and act on it. Remember, we've got this one life as us, and this is our time to create flow in all our relationships. What is your inner calling? I will express my inner calling with love, and I will act on it. Have a happy Valentine's Day, whether you're single, in a relationship, hanging out with your friends. Love yourself. Know that there is love out there for you. We just need to find the adjustments energetically that you need to make in order to bring that in, along with divine timing. I'm here for you in so many ways: mini readings, soul magics, sessions, emergency sessions, personalized meditations. Kieran's the person to email at soul33@gmail.com. Please don't forget to like, share, tag, subscribe, let people know this platform exists so I can keep adding more resources to help you progress your soul. Now, Belle Crawford and I did an interview with Belle recently. It's in 2 parts because we ended up talking for ages. There's a lot of useful stuff for you to listen to. So you go to Spotify or your podcast provider and search The Self-Love Club, and you will see Love Lessons with Belle, which is what our episodes are called. There's a whole lot of 4 years worth of older episodes, but these are new ones. So the part 1 is out, part 2 should be out very, very soon. So have a listen to that. I've also started the sexual trauma category on the app. Now I'm going to keep adding to this. So you'll have a whole library of them, but I want to introduce it so that your body gets used to it. Whether you consciously or unconsciously feel like you've had sexual trauma or not, just see how you feel doing them, because we all have got it somewhere in our ancestral line, in our past lifeline. It just may not be something that we have experienced in this life, but it's still a very, very important thing that helps us be vulnerable in relationships once it's healed or we're in the process of healing it. So it's a really good one to put into your homework this week, the one that's already there, and I'll add to that very, very soon. Have a wonderful week. I'll be in touch. Bye.